Matt, g'day. So what's likely to be in the budget to tackle these concerns?
Good morning, Joe. Well, the Prime Minister is still keeping his cards pretty close to his chest on this matter, but we do know that there are a few things being floated and being discussed within government ranks at the moment. Let's touch base on the issue of fuel to start with, because this has been something that has really been forced into the public debate over the last couple of weeks and months, with prices going through the roof, hitting over $2.20 in some parts of the country. There's been a discussion for a number of weeks now about whether or not the fuel excise needs to be tinkered with to try to bring some relief to motorists at the bowser. It currently sits at around 44 cents a litre. Some calls to halve that, take 20 cents or so off the price of petrol, or even to freeze the indexation of the fuel excise, which is in effect stopping it from increasing as it regularly does, to try to avoid further price spikes into the future. There is a lot of debate about whether or not this is an effective mechanism for tackling rising fuel prices. If you were to cut the excise, and then with the fluctuations in global oil markets, any saving there could get eaten up in just rising oil prices anyway. And as was the experience from 20 years ago, when John Howard, then Prime Minister in 2001, decided to freeze the the fuel excise indexation, it was 13 years before a government was able to unfreeze that. It was the Abbott government which made that decision in 2013, just showing you how difficult it is to unwind and unpick those sort of measures politically, because it does result in pressure at the bowser further down the track. So that's one issue that is being looked at, and reports that fuel excise is still being considered as a way to ease those concerns. More broadly, we are hearing it's all but confirmed that there could be one-off payments made to low and middle income earners to try to ease those cost of living pressures that are flowing on elsewhere. We know that the low and middle income tax offset, which is due to expire at the end of this financial year, that has been described as not exactly the most effective way to ease those hip pocket pressures, because it's a tax offset. It doesn't really come into effect until an individual does their tax return at the end of a financial year. And when we're talking about pressures in the here and now, those one-off payments could be a much more effective way to get money into people's bank accounts, get it into the economy. A lot of discussion about just how these measures will be implemented, because the government is also very wary about overheating the economy, which is what Josh Frydenberg, how he describes it here. They don't want to do too much that would then result in an increase in inflation, which would make the situation even worse. And that's why the Prime Minister is being fairly guarded about his comments on this issue this morning. He's done the rounds of some networks this morning, and he says that Australians will have to wait to see what's in the budget come Tuesday.
Well, fuel in particular, and we know that that's been caused by the terrible war that is occurring in Ukraine. But next week's budget, the Treasurer and I are putting the final touches on that now, and addressing those cost of living pressures will be a key priority of that budget. And we've been carefully designing our response, because, Layla, what we do is we don't have knee-jerk reactions on things like the economy. What we do is we carefully design our responses.
And Matthew, on the other side of politics, the opposition leader has been pressed again about the handling of bullying allegations in the Labor Party. What's he had to say?
Well, Joe, Anthony Albanese says that there was no formal complaint made by the late Senator Kimberley Kitching before she died suddenly about a week and a half ago now. Since that death, where it's suspected that Senator Kitching suffered a heart attack at the age of just 52, there have been a number of claims made about her treatment within the party, specifically singling out Labor's Senate leadership team of Penny Wong, Katie Gallagher and Christina Keneally as having bullied and ostracised the late senator, freezing her out of key meetings of the party, not giving her questions during question time, which is seen as a key way for senators to boost their profile and get some of their comments on the public record. Not only did Senator Kitching raise these concerns with some of her friends and colleagues, but the ABC revealed last week that she had also mentioned it to a workplace trainer who'd been undertaking workplace training in this building, training that had been ordered in the wake of former Liberal staffer Brittany Higgins alleging she'd been raped by a colleague in a ministerial office here in Parliament House. So the fact that it went to a third party in that regard, seeming suggestions that escalated this matter even further. We did hear from those three senators late last week. They denied any accusations of wrongdoing here, denied accusations of bullying, but Senator Wong did go to one comment in particular where she had said to Senator Kitching that if she had children, she would understand the concerns of children who were planning to strike from school, calling for greater climate action. She said that she apologised at the time and had thought that that apology had been accepted, and of course said that it was out of character for her to act in such a way. So that's the background here. What the pressure that's on Anthony Albanese is whether or not he is going to launch a full investigation into these bullying complaints by Senator Kitching. His response to the ABC this morning was that no complaint was made, that the parties that have been named as responsible for this have put forward their side of the events, and he's questioned what any investigation would actually achieve.
What exactly remains outstanding? Were there some tensions within the Labor Party? Clearly there were between individuals. Are there ongoing tensions between individuals in the Labor Party from time to time? Yes, there are. What we need to do is to make sure we're conscious of it, that we deal with debates in a mature way, that we treat each other respectfully, and I think that's an ongoing issue.
That's the opposition leader Anthony Albanese speaking to News Breakfast earlier today. This has become quite a personal debate between the two leaders, with the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, labelling Mr Albanese yesterday as gutless for refusing to investigate these matters. The opposition leader responding this morning, saying that he isn't going to take lectures on what it takes to have guts from someone who went to a flood-ravaged area in Lismore and carefully stage managed his appearance there, not wanting to meet with too many flood victims, something that the Prime Minister has responded to this morning, denying those accusations as well. So it's clear that as the election campaign looms, we're going to see a lot more of these character assessments of our leaders flying from both sides. Joe?
And Matt, here on the ABC News channel, we're going to be covering a couple of these media conferences today with the Prime Minister up in Queensland. Just what's the rough time on them and where's he at?
You know what, Joe? I haven't brought that in with my notes with me today, but it's in the next couple of hours or so. He is making an announcement with regards to a $5.4 billion investment in a new dam near Townsville. So he's up in Townsville at the moment. That's the Hell's Gate project, which has been discussed for many, many years. So he'll be making that announcement in the next hour or so. And even though I don't have the time handy to me, I'm sure we will bring it to you live here on the ABC News channel.
Definitely. And yeah, and he's in Rocky after that a little later in the day. Okay, Matthew Doran there at Parliament House in Canberra.